And now we go to London in the middle of the Blitz. So, as we open up, the Doctor and Rose coming out of the TARDIS, and everything seems normal. Doctor's gonna ask around to see if there's anything that fell out of the sky with a very loud bang, only to find out they're in the middle of the London Blitz. But after that, things start going a bit spooky. You got a phone that isn't supposed to be a phone ringing from the TARDIS, and a little child is walking around London looking for his mummy. So the empty child and the Doctor dances, you have an unsuspecting monster being a 4-year-old in hysterics looking for his mummy. This 4-year-old also seems to have psychic powers, can make phones ring without even touching them, as well as control other things like typewriters, audio tapes, and then you see the blank expression on his face as well. This is something that would send children running away from the TV screens when this episode first aired. Even though I'm a phoenix, I do relate. I was flying away back to my nest after seeing this episode. But the scariest part of this episode is, of course, the transformation scene. That is one thing I need to mention, because the whole visuals of it is something you don't really expect, and seeing it feels so unnerving, I think is the best word. And then we go to other aspects of this episode where you see a typical conversation going on between people with a very distinct background noise going in behind you, and then it gets pointed out and you realize the reason behind it is the child. Excellent direction there. And then we go on to the characters. We'll start off with the Doctor. The Doctor here is this is probably one of his highlights in episodes where he is the center of attention but not the main focus of this episode. And I think he plays this role excellently. Or sorry, should I say fantastically? Essentially, this Doctor started out showing so much compassion for this child being left out from the others. And when he tries to understand it, he realizes that maybe he should keep his distance. With the Doctor doing some investigating, finding out Nancy's tied into all this, he instantly realizes what's going on. Rose is pretty much the damsel in distress in this episode, starting out on a blimp and getting, caught in the middle of the Blitz, in the middle of the sky with a Union Jack all over her chest. So, unfortunately, I can't really say much regarding Rose here, but what I will say is, though, she does a good job of pretty much showing her disappointment with the Doctor of being so covert with everything he does, and then comparing it to Jack, who does everything exactly how you would expect a spaceman to do stuff. I understand why Rose can be disappointed with the Doctor and very excited about Jack, but Rose knows that the Doctor does actually know what he's doing. Moving on to Jack. I would say Jack is a unique take on a character to be added to the TARDIS team, because ultimately he is loud and very clever, but he also seems to listen and respect the Doctor. And then we go on to Nancy. With the exception of the empty child, she is the only important character that's not part of the main TARDIS team here. And she starts off as this young woman going around feeding the children of London food during air raids, which, there is a bit of morality brought into this, and I do respect it, but it's also a case of you are stealing, so I'm not really sure where to go on this one. The whole resolution at the end, where ultimately it comes down to family, genetics and genes, it boils down to Nancy. And then the Doctor decides to show Rose that he can dance. Then it leads to one of the best scenes where the Doctor's beaming with joy, shouting everybody lives, and I always get goosebumps when I watch this scene. Rose points out to the Doctor that he's beaming away like he's Father Christmas, where the Doctor's like, who says I'm not Redbike when you were 12? All in all, though, This story is easily one of my favourites, considering how much I'm gushing about it. It's a slow burner throughout the entirety of the first episode, and then when the second one comes in, it comes together very well. There's no major negatives. I wouldn't say there's any minor negatives either. The atmosphere is brilliant, the characters are fantastic, and the monster is terrifying then, and it's terrifying now. So with that, I can safely give this two-parter a 10 out of 10. But until then, let's move on to modern-day Cardiff, where we get a visit from an old friend in Boomtown.